Surely the heart of a child is like fallow ground. Whatever is planted in it is accepted by it. Once said Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, peace and blessings be upon him.
One of our main goals is understanding, because we truly believe that if children understand more about each other, that they won't create the kind of biases that might really interfere with peaceful, cooperative activities in the future.
Perhaps it is with this hope that many a parent chooses for their child a camp to attend in the summer months.
Of all of the things that we hear across the world, of all of the negative things that human beings do, that meaning has been misunderstood.
It's a nice event because everybody from different faith group attends, and it's a fun day for the family.
A hope that amidst all the fun and frolic, amidst all the friends that are made, learning takes place, confidence is built, and that their identity is given new shape.
I myself had no knowledge about the Jewish faith, and I got to learn so much. I got to visit a synagogue, and even though I go to a Catholic school and I learned about Christianity, I've never been to a church, and this camp gave me the opportunity to go there.
One such camp, being held at the King's University College at Western University, Canada this year, is the London Interfaith Peace Camp. Pairing outdoor activities and arts and crafts with faith-based learning, it allows children to explore the commonalities between the three Abrahamic faiths and learn to appreciate them.
Just the learning experience has brought me back. Just being able to visit all the sites, it's really opened my eyes to the similarities between all the different Abrahamic faiths, and just being able to learn about their faiths in their actually like where everything is, and it's been a really great experience.
So the interesting thing, that at least in Canada, is because the Jewish dietary laws have a lot of the same rules that the Muslim dietary laws have.
When we watched the video this morning about Judaism and about the synagogue, so when they enter they have to cover their head, and same thing with like Islam and going into the mosque. Like for us, we kind of wear hijab.
Kids are very perceptive. They look around and they see many different things. In essence, when they came into our center, we wanted them, even though there are things that they do not present, we wanted to make sure that their visual system is comprehending what we're trying to accomplish.
Why doesn't everybody just like stop arguing for a minute and sit down and have a cup of tea? Like, if you actually got a chance to get to know them, then maybe there wouldn't be such a thing as war.
Salam, Salam.
Walaikum assalam. That was excellent, Jesse.
I've been part of this camp since shortly after the group started to organize here in London. There was a member of our church, David Jansen, who really sort of wanted to get the ball rolling on this one. He had some passion for what was happening in Virginia at Eastern Mennonite University. And we have some members of our congregation as well who are connected to Virginia by family. And so there was a lot of support within Valleyview to see this happening in London. And David Jansen had some connections in the Muslim community, and my husband, Kendall Jongeian Harder, had a connection with Rabbi Debra Dressler, and somehow that was the magic. We had the three people to begin, three groups kind of to begin, and Sister Shaheen Parthan started to join us already in that first year. And so yeah, we've been working at this this is our third year, and it's been a growing experience.
So I'm not going to like you very much because you can eat bacon and I can't. Does that make sense? Should we not like each other because we have differences in our religion? Just like me and Rania have small differences, we also have small differences, and we're trying to talk about them in the Peace Camp.
Yep.
But if I focus on what we have in common,
like one God?
Like I have one God.
Me
hey,
too.
You do too?
Yeah.
Wow. Doesn't that make more sense?
So our vision is really to just start with children who are young, to introduce them to different religions. So this is your chance to learn about Islam, for example, as the very first time you've ever heard of it. You may know a Muslim kid from soccer, you may have seen somebody wear hijab at the mall, but you don't really know what is it they practice or anything about their religion as a child. So before they start to develop that negative image, possibly through media contact, possibly, or through other people, their first approach, their first idea of what is a Muslim, we wanted it to be a positive one. And that goes for Judaism, it goes for Christianity as well. So when a Muslim thinks of a Jew, we didn't want them to think of a political situation or what their parents or grandparents or what the mosque might have said. We want that child to think, oh, I know my friend Yuki from the Peace Camp, and she's awesome, and we went to her synagogue, and she broke bread, and she did this prayer in Hebrew, and I really think being Jewish is cool.
On the first year, my youngest daughter was a camper, and she was about 7 years old, and in the fall, she had met some of the kids in her class, and she'd known them the year before, but she'd never really been that curious about them. And then she came home one of the first days of school, and she says, oh, Ima, that means mom in Hebrew, there's a boy Zayd in my class, and he's Muslim, isn't that cool? And that, to me, is really what it's all about, so that we appreciate and enjoy the beauty of each other's faith and are open, and if we see it as anything, we see it as positive, and that we understand each other so much better once we've had an experience like this.
You know, sometimes when you're raising children, it's not always really clear, but you know with your heart when you see it, when your children are doing something and you go, and this is what we're after. So I think we're after those golden moments, and the sense that kids come away with a knowledge of interfaith and this emotional feeling that connecting together and learning each other is a good thing. It's a friendly thing, and it's not something to be afraid of. I think kids this age have that bit more inherently in them, and it's not usually until a little bit later that some of the questions arise, and the tendency maybe to pull back and to retreat in anxiety or fear comes. And we're hoping to sort of move in a little bit before that and have some of those conversations, create those safe spaces so that it isn't as likely later on to pull back in maybe more ignorance or in fear, to say, no, actually, I know a rabbi, I know a Muslim, I know a pastor, and that's not what they say.
To me, peace means like making friends and being awesome and not caring what someone wears and what someone does and how someone speaks. I think that peace just kind of means like equality, and world peace is just kind of like, you know, why doesn't everybody just like stop arguing for a minute and sit down and have a cup of tea? Like, if you actually got a chance to get to know them, then maybe there wouldn't be such a thing as war.
Lucy was onto it. If only the rest of the world could look at peace in the same light. Attempting to enhance their understanding of the other, the children's first visit, and for many of them it was their first time, was to the congregation or Shalom, a conservative Jewish synagogue.
So that's really different than, say, in a church where you would be asked to take off your hat as a sign of respect. So the same thing, wearing something on your head means one thing in one place and a different thing in another place. So you can see I'm wearing my kippah. That's very different than the one the rabbi in the video was wearing. Mine's from a certain region of the world, and they wear a much larger hat, and this just happens to fit my head, so I like it.
This is a prayer shawl. When we say it, we say a blessing. And we wear it like this.
My name is Reem. I'm 12 years old. I came here with my older brother and my younger sister, and this is my first time here.
What I say is I like to announce page numbers, I welcome people.
Before we watched the video, I was kind of wondering what it'll look like. Would it look more like a church, more like a mosque, or nothing like it? But I thought it looked really nice, and there was like these kind of designs on the windows, and when you there's like this lobby, and before you go in, like the men have to wear something on their head, and there's also kind of like this cloth or like this thing you wear, but you have to like do this kind of special prayer for it, and I thought that was really cool.
I really liked the experience of being able to see the Torah, because I've never seen one up close before.
Okay.
After a hearty interactive session with the rabbi, and questions ranging from the Holocaust to whether she also lives at the synagogue, an even heartier meal concluded the day before a team debrief back at the university campus. While we approached the current principal of King's University College, Dr. David Sylvester, for some further insight.
Certainly, King's University College is a faith-based institution, a denominational institution out of the Catholic tradition. It's our 60th anniversary, and we've always had a very strong commitment to our students and our faculty and the community to help them explore, not just intellectually, but psychologically and spiritually, who they are as people. So when the Peace Camp leaders came to us and asked if King's would sponsor this and host the camp, we said certainly, right from the beginning. So since its inception, the Interfaith Peace Camp has been located here at King's, and we couldn't be happier.
Jam-packed with more activities, the next day brought with it a special visit to the Al-Mahdi Islamic Center. Sister Shaheen Pradhan, one of the camp's main organizers, explained to the children some of the etiquettes when visiting a mosque.
So when we kill an animal, like when you have chicken nuggets, or when you have a hamburger, that stuff comes from an animal, right? So when Muslims say we're going to kill this animal so that we can have hamburgers and steak and chicken nuggets and other meat and chicken items, we have to kill the animal in a very clean way and a very humane way, which means we don't want to hurt the animal at all.
Right? Yeah.
With many visiting an Islamic place of worship for the first time, the children could barely contain their excitement about this next learning adventure.
The third one is sujood. And sujood is where we touch our hands, our head to the floor, and it goes like this. So we bow down this way, put our hands to the side, and we put our head right on the turban. And we say supplications, and we finish. There's a lot of things that stood out. The reason why, why do you go into the masjid? Why do you take your shoes off? Why do you perform wudu? Why do you clean? Why do you have to do all of these things before you do a prayer? And what is the importance of that? So when we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we want to tell these kids, in comparison to many different religions, that Islam is unique. It's distinguished. It is separated from many other religions because it's much more detailed. And when we approach God, we have to have a specific way to approach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the way that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had shown us how Islam should be.
Of all of the things that we hear across the world, of all of the negative things that human beings do, that meaning has been misunderstood.
So we have to introduce that to the world. And the reaction was from those people is that first they didn't know a lot of it. Kids did not understand these concepts. They just thought we just did, like they do in different religions. When they approach, they go inside, they pray, and they leave. Islam is distinguished.
Last year our theme was building bridges. And the first year was one tree, many faiths. And this year we chose the theme of words and texts, words that hurt, words that heal, because each of the Abrahamic faith traditions have a sacred text and words that really speak to peace.
I really liked the part where we listened to a video of somebody calling for prayer. I learned that the Burmese make pretty good sense, even to me, a Christian.
Brimming with questions, their curious little hands shot up one after another as the children, captivated in particular by the Islamic call to prayer, also known as the adhan, absorbed the presentation at the mosque.
It has been compiled.
Vice Principal at the Al-Mahdi Islamic Center, Haj Muhammad Hamoud, shed some light on the role of interfaith activities in Canada.
My name is Muhammad Hamoud, and I'm the Vice President, one of the board members at the Al-Mahdi Muntazir Mosque here in London, Ontario. I've been an active member at the mosque for a little over 15 years. When we got to know each other as a community, we realized how important it is to branch out and to get to know the larger community, to mix, but also to do so under the banner of the Ahlulbayt, coming out of the closet and saying we are Muslims and this is what we believe in, and that it was okay to accept that, even in an environment where being Muslim these days could be really dangerous or could be really questionable. People may look at you, question why your sisters or your mothers or your daughters are dressed a certain way, may question why in a professional environment you don't extend your hand to shake somebody's hand upon meeting them, right, from the opposite sex. So it's a matter of really clarifying for people what you believe in and finding that commonality so that you build bridges rather than destroy them.
Having served at the Al-Mahdi Islamic Center in various capacities and currently its treasurer, Brother Arif Datu shared with us his vision for this wonderful community.
In terms of interfaith work, what we've also done is we've also encouraged at the time, and we don't do it as much now, which we should, is we've had somebody from our group, Sheikh Shafiq Huda actually came for us, and we went to the Jewish synagogue, and he actually spoke about Islam and took questions firsthand from members of the Jewish community. And then we basically reciprocated and had the Rabbi basically attend our center and basically do the same thing. Did the same thing with the Christian community as well. More recently, we're involved in things like the Peace Camp, which you're aware about, and as well as the interfaith tree planting, where members of different faith groups get together and we plant trees. My vision for this community would be that each and every one of us identifies ourselves as Canadian Shia, and not that I am a Khoja coming from East Africa or from Lebanon, but I'm a Canadian Shia. I already see that happening, alhamdulillah, at the group that is perhaps under 12. I see them assimilating and mixing together very freely, both at the madrasa and the center. And inshallah, it is my vision that we will see more of that as these kids get older, and perhaps sometimes we can learn from our kids, and we see how they behave and they act, and we can become the same way.
Later on in the evening, Sister Shaheen elaborated on the different ways in which the Interfaith Peace Camp has been having an impact on all those involved, particularly so on the young campers.
One thing we found, especially with the Jewish community, is the first year of camp, the Jewish students, the Jewish kids, the counselors and the campers, they're a minority in London, and even in our camp, because they're such a small community, they don't make up a great majority. So it's harder to get Jewish students to participate, only because there are just fewer of them in London. So when they did come, the first year they saw the Muslim students recite Surah Fatiha. And so the next day they said, hey, we want to recite something too. So when we went to the synagogue, all the Jewish kids came together, and before we started eating, they broke bread. And there's a special, what we would call a dua, but they have a prayer that they say when they break the bread. So all the students got together, and in Hebrew, they recited it together. And the rabbi said, I never asked them to do this. They came to me, and they said, we're really proud of our breaking bread recitation, and we'd like to share that with everyone. So she said it's the first time where these kids actually formed an identity of, I'm Jewish, and I'm proud of being Jewish, and I want to share that with everybody.
The ability of a camp such as this one to serve as foundational in building bridges between the three faiths was highlighted by Sister Shaheen in one inspiring example after another.
One thing I find in our peace camp that we do on, Islam Day, or the day where we introduce the religion of Islam, where we go and visit the mosque, is we get kids to go to a mosque. So that's often a little tricky. Some people have some ideas, what's going to happen in a mosque? What do they do in a mosque? What's it like in a mosque? So getting them to come to a mosque, taking their shoes off, and then coming into the center is a big step for some children. And then to see, do I have to cover my hair? Do I not have to cover my hair? Should I wear hijab? Should I dress more modestly? So kids are a little nervous about the whole idea because they see someone dressed like the Muslims that we have, fully covered, and now they're going in with shorts and a tank top, right? So they're like, am I appropriately dressed? What are they going to say? Is the imam going to have a big beard and a big turban? Is he going to yell at me? They don't know what to expect, right? So I think just the idea of going to a mosque is a great first step for the kids to feel that comfort level.
You had to take off your shoes for you to show signs of respect for God, and they told me lots of new stuff, but I already knew everything, but I said that too. I really liked when we all got together and had like the food. That I didn't know that we were going to be eating on the ground.
At the mosque?
Yeah, and it was really different for me, but I liked it.
I remember one girl said, "Is it a special kind of scarf you have to buy?" And I told her, "No, we just go to the store and buy them off the rack." And I said, "Isn't it great that they've become so in fashion? You guys wear them around your neck. I can get them for $5 now, right? I don't have to go to a special hijabi store to pick up my hijabs, right?" So they were like, "Wow, you buy the ones from Ardeen and from all those stores?" I'm like, "Yeah."
These experiences are going to help me in my future because I know a lot about all the 3 religions now, and I can apply them in my life. When I meet people of different faiths, I know a lot about it now, and I can share it with other people. And also, I think I can. It has taught me the idea that it's important to go out and to spread knowledge about your religion to other people as well, to maintain peace in the world.
The camp is one of the most amazing things I think I've done as a volunteer, just to get to see all the children working together. It's just to really put aside what's happening elsewhere in the world and just get some kids of different faiths to get along and work together and play games and just really build relationships and trust factors that will happen and be useful later in life.
You know, people will say, "Well, why should I teach my kids about different religions? They might influence my child." Instead of it being saying, let's celebrate all these religions. And instead of someone saying, I'm glad that other people are learning about Islam. They don't think of it the other way. If nobody participated in the peace camp, then we wouldn't get a chance to share our religion. Not just, oh, my kid's going to be exposed to that religion. Your kid gets to be proud and share their religion. Our goal in the peace camp is not to convert people. It's never been. And we never try and do anything that might make someone uncomfortable.
For Muslim women, hijab is a symbol of their religious identity and also a source of pride. We strove to explore how the hijab experience was both received and perceived by the children at the camp.
So the first year I did this, I wanted it to be as safe as possible. I didn't want anyone to feel forced to try on the hijab. So we gave them the option of playing soccer outside or staying inside and putting on the hijab. And we said, you know, you don't have to wear it. You can just watch if you don't want to wear it. And all the girls put them on. In fact, they didn't just put them on. They looked to see which hijab matched their outfit. Oh, I want the sparkly one. I want the one with beads on the end. Oh, let's tie it like you do. Can you tie it a new way for me? I want this particular pin. So they really got into it. And so for me, thinking, well, I don't want their parents. What will their parents say when they see pictures of their daughters wearing hijab? I was nervous about it, but their parents would come and see me on the potluck and say, our kids loved wearing the hijab. Now imagine what you've done with that child. You've taken that child who might have been scared of the hijab, who might have seen someone wearing it in the mall and thought, oh, let me keep away or let me walk on the other side. And now you've actually got that kid comfortable enough to wear that hijab. Put it on themselves. Go to the mirror in the bathroom. I want to see what I look like. Take a picture of me in that hijab because I want it up on the poster for everyone to see. Now let's say that kid goes to school in September and their new friend wears hijab. And everybody else in the school is making fun of them, is not talking to them, is bullying them, whatever. That child can say, no, I wore the hijab. I may not be Muslim, but I wore the hijab. And to me, it was such a beautiful experience.
So one of my eye-opening experiences was a child was walking around and said to one of the staff, like, hey, like, what are you wearing on your head? He's like, oh, it's a hijab. And then the staff explained it to the kid, and he's like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I can't wait to try one on. And I was like, wow, that's awesome that kids, like, these days are willing to do that.
I don't feel any different from everybody. It's just another scarf over my head, or it's just another scarf over their head, or an extra length on their sleeve, and besides, like, we're besties. I mean, like, it's like awesome.
One particularly inspiring aspect about this camp was its inclusivity on so many levels.
We think it's really important to have special needs students attend the camp and not to exclude them, because in the real world you're going to be faced with situations where not only are people different religions or different faiths, but there are different abilities. And so when we show, look, we can all get along, we can use our strengths, and we can actually help one another. And just because someone has a disability doesn't mean they can't learn something or they can't contribute. And it helps us to say, the mission of our peace camp, where we all are hoping to spread peace, not everyone is going to be able to understand things on the same level or participate in the same level. So we look to what that person is able to do and what able to learn, and we highlight that strength. If we're trying to get Jews and Christians and Muslims and people with different abilities to all work together, why can't we get Sunnis and Shias to work together?
So Rania is Sunni, and I am Shia. Do me and Rania get along? Yeah? And I greet her. Will I kiss her? Let's say, Salam alaikum, Rania. Oh, so nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Do I love Rania? Because she is a Muslim and a sister of mine. Is she really my sister? No, we don't have the same mom and dad, right? But she's still my sister in Islam, in faith.
There's small differences, but we all have the same, we're all standing on the same ground. We all have the same Allah. We have all the same 5 pillars of Islam. So basically, we're all one.
I like that there was the Kaaba, because I've never seen like a fake Kaaba.
If we're trying to get Jews and Christians and Muslims and people with different abilities to all work together, why can't we get Sunnis and Shias to work together? And maybe this will be their first exposure to being a Shia, or what Shia is about. And when they go and they learn later on, or when they go to university and they see someone praying with the turba, or when they go to the airport and they see someone who doesn't have their arms folded, or doing wudu where they don't put their feet in the sink, maybe they'll say, hey, wait a second, I know what you are. You're a Shia, and I don't have a bad feeling about that. I have a very neutral or a positive feeling about that from my experience in the peace camp, where we dealt with it in a way where we didn't say they're the other and we're the other, or we're the minority and you're the majority, and you can say this to us and we're not going to say anything back to you or whatever. We're going to say, hey, we're different. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with being different. We can each practice and we can each get along in our own way.
Here's a question that a lot of you ask when you talk to me, when I've talked to you a lot of times. Why so many churches, right? You come around, why not just 1 or 2? But it seems like on every corner there are churches, right?
So we're here today at St. John the Divine Roman Catholic Church. This is very exciting for us because we haven't been at a Catholic church yet with the Peace Camp. The first year we were at Valleyview Mennonite Church. The second year we were at a United Church. So this is our first time at a Catholic church, and we're excited to see what goes on, what the windows might be like, if there's any statues or scripture that we get to learn about today.
Jesus Christus, eternus Deus, eternique Patris Filius, mundum volens advento suo pissimo consecrare, de Spiritu Sancto conceptus.
Hoping for all this interfaith learning to transcend the friendships these children have formed and renewed, a potluck dinner at the Islamic Centre of Southwest Ontario served as a wonderful opportunity to not only celebrate and showcase their experience at the camp so far, but to also bring together their parents and families and have them understand each other on an adult level. Before having to wrap up a journey equal parts fun, inspirational, and full of surprises, finding out what the parents and our young campers had to say about their experiences seemed crucial to our objective.
I think the thing that's been really wonderful is the combination of learning about other religions plus just having fun. Just doing enjoyable, fun things, Lego, crafts, outings. The first day he brought me over to, I think it's called the Peace Garden here at King's University College, and he explained to me that there was a symbol for Islam in one side of the garden. It was a sort of a courtyard, and another symbol for Judaism and another symbol for Christianity, and that this little alcove or peace garden showed the different religions that they were going to be learning about. So that was really wonderful to see.
even if they have questions regarding our own faith, not to be scared or be offended or anything, just to try to answer their questions calmly and to understand that these are children with lots of questions, so many things going on in their head, especially that we live in Canada, multiculturalism, and so many ethnic and faith groups here. So that I have learned just to take it easy, one step at a time with my children.
I find Nevaeh to be stronger in her own faith, knowing other faiths, because she was asking questions before. There are questions that I don't have answers for necessarily, whereas in this camp she can get in depth with a rabbi or Charleen as well. They're very close, so she can ask them whatever pops into her head at the time, whereas I would have to say, wait a minute, I'll look it up later, I'm not sure. She can get all the answers she needs right now, and it gives her a peace in her own heart because she feels stronger in her religion, knowing about the similarities of other religions.
I think the key reason is that I think it's a good opportunity for each religion to have the chance to introduce itself. So rather than just like getting to know it from media, which I personally do not trust, I know that you're a media, but in general, I think the best thing is that the Jews would be able to present themselves a lot of interesting and nice things about their religion. The same thing for other religions too, Islam and Christianity. So that's the key things that we decided to have our son there.
So far this week, I've heard nothing but amazing things from, I have a neighbor's friend that I pick up as well, and she's told me nothing but amazing things from the camp. Lots of outdoor activities. Maddox has brought home plenty of knowledge from every church he's attended this week.
And temple.
And temple. And he is able to recite quite a few things that he's learned at the different temples and camps and churches that he's gone to. So it's been quite an experience for him, and we love hearing about it. So,
even from the first year, my daughter would have been just 7, but at the end of the year, you know, she said it was her favorite camp. She goes to camp all summer long, and it was her favorite one. And it's funny because when people ask me about this camp, I say, you know, it's very much a volunteer effort, and there are other camps she goes to that are more organized or more professional or more resource intensive, where they do drama or art or engineering, but this camp is her favorite because of the passion, I think, that goes into it and the genuine way that people connect.
Yeah, I think they still have a lot to learn because, you know, it was their first exposure, but just as an example today, when we drove past the Islamic Center tonight, we missed it, and Eric right away said, oh, it's right there, I see the symbol, you know, on the building, and things like that. So they're recognizing the different religions, and all week long they've been asking questions about, you know, what other religions are there in the world, and why are there different religions, and some of these questions are pretty hard for me to answer, actually, some of their questions, but it's great that they're having these thoughts, and I think that helps them in their future because I think they'll have more respect for other people and more of an understanding of, you know, here's where we're common and here's where we're different and why we're different, and that's okay, right? And I think that'll help them all through life. So, you know, even just as I said in school, they have a better understanding already because they've said, oh, well, now I understand why, you know, so-and-so in my class doesn't eat pork. They didn't understand before. Like I would say, well, it's because of their religion, but they didn't really understand what that meant, and now they're having a better understanding of it. So things like that, because they have pizza days, and some kids can't eat pepperoni, and why is that? You know, things like that. So it's been good that way, and I mean, those are small things, but it's just an appreciation of the differences and the similarities.
Well, I feel very blessed that we have the opportunity to send our children to a camp like this, because they're the generation that I think we are hoping can really bring the acceptance and the peace to such a diverse country and world, and take it away from all of the conflict that we're seeing right now. You know, we didn't have those opportunities growing up, but we really appreciate that our children have the opportunities for that.
I've taken literally thousands of photographs over the first 2.5 years that I've done this, and they are just, they're precious to me. They're just gorgeous pictures of kids living together. They're spending time together and interacting, and no judging based on religion, but just trying to learn from each other, and learn from the counselors, of course, as well, and learn from the rabbi and the imam and the pastor. So it's just been a great experience. I wouldn't miss it.
There is no doubt that with such noble aspirations, the Interfaith Peace Camp attracted a lot of media coverage this year, so much so that 2015 was defined as the year of the media.
The media coverage has been wonderful. If you've seen on London Free Press, and also the Rogers TV channel, I believe, was out visiting with you guys. And there's even a documentary being made about this wonderful camp, and hopefully this is something that can be duplicated not only in London, but across Canada and North America, because this is truly a wonderful model that should be duplicated.
And I think this afternoon we're quite excited because two city councillors, a Muslim and a Jew, read our article in the paper, said, can we come and be a part of it? We said, that's great. And if you can grab a Christian, all the better. So they're grabbing Mayor Brown.
But what we wanted to come, and each of us will just take an opportunity to speak, but we wanted to come and see what you were up to, because we think this is really an incredible thing. It represents, this room really represents our entire community.
When the Free Press came, and we were in the Interfaith Peace Garden at King's University College, they have this wonderful garden already there with the peace sign. The signs are, and we were there in the garden. And I think what struck me was how spontaneous it was. The kids just burst out on their own to say peace, salam, shalom, and the photographer just took a picture of 3 kids standing beside each other, and they weren't organized. And he was just enjoying how they were happy together, and he got their names and he asked for their religious affiliation, and it just happened that the first 3 that he chose, one was Jewish, one was Christian, one was Muslim. And we thought, well, that just happened. We didn't even stage that, we didn't plan it. And you have kids walking down making friends, and you say, well, we didn't actually force any of that.
And one of the most amazing things for me was when I started my position as being a city councillor, we all got to swear our oaths of office when we started taking our positions. And one of the neatest things was getting to see each of the different books that we all swore on when we took our oaths. And so the mayor had his grandfather's old Bible, got to swear on that. It was about this big. It was pretty big. About this big. I got to swear on a Torah that's been passed down in my family for some time. And Councillor Salam, he got to swear on the Quran, which was really amazing. So it was so incredible to see us be able to all share and do something different, but at the same time build that community so strongly together.
For me in particular, it's really beneficial to have someone like Councillor Zafman, who's Jewish and myself Muslim. So whenever there's something that might be happening in the community, he can help and teach me about it and tell me about it and teach me about some of the traditions and some of the foods, maybe like the lefties that come along during some of the Jewish holidays in the year. And then also the reverse as well. I know he's come with me to different events and we talk about Ramadan and I talk to him about fasting. So we get to learn about one another just like you guys are doing right here. So the learning is never going to end. So the friendships and the relationships you guys have here, you continue to have as you go out throughout the years.
Can I add anything? But just that it's a real honor and privilege to see you working together, and I think to you offer to give to the kids of your words, and we would like to offer you our blessing of peace to you. Should we sing our song to them again? Yeah? Yeah.
One more time.
Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom.
Amidst the political unrest that is the world we live in, chancing upon the Interfaith Peace Camp was nothing short of a breath of fresh air in an otherwise polluted atmosphere. Encouraging initiatives such as these camps enable children across all religious backgrounds to learn more about themselves, partake in this education with their parents and families, and help slowly do away with stereotypes, thus creating a society in which friendships are built and fear of the other is eradicated.